Okay. I think everything is okay. I think, hopefully. Hopefully. See a notification. Let's see, is it here? Alright, cool. Having some internet trouble, so I didn't know if this was like here or not. Where were we at here? R2. Should be hotel today. Did. Okay. Put that there. Alright. Let me just edit this up real quick. And we'll get going. Whoops. Not here. Boom. Man, I'm getting better at this. Getting a little bit faster. Oh, nice. YouTube didn't give me the game title category. That's funny. Alright. Do the pin comment real quick and then we'll continue. Bloom, bloom, bloom. Almost there. YouTube, would you like to do the thing now? Oh, so it's fine? Let's see. How does it look? How do I look? Nice and ugly. Cool. Everything work well? Everything look good? See the partial bald spot? Nice. Hopefully the internet stays up for this. My connection was a little finicky before I started. Oh, cool. I see the unlist live replay. Check that off. Alright, let's do the pinned comment now. So you know where we're starting off. Low battery. Hell yeah, dude. Low battery. Don't we love wireless? Don't we love cooking up our brain with all those radioactive Bluetooths? I saw that shit like a couple days ago. I thought that was funny. Okay, hopefully everything is okay. Hopefully. Getting some weird stuff going on here with my connection, so hopefully everything is alright. But we are starting off at the potentially end of Labyrinth. I don't know for sure, because it's my first playthrough and all, but with how the Labyrinth section is going here, I imagine this is potentially close to the end of it. Probably going to go through the same stuff as the original game. If it plays out the same, which everything in this remake has played out pretty similarly to the original, so That'll probably be what it is, and then potentially into the hotel and see how that goes. And I don't know, maybe I'll potentially even finish. I don't know. We'll find out. But we went through all of the Toluca prison last night and dove off into part of the Labyrinth section after the prison, doing the execution puzzle there. And I guess I'll talk a little bit about it before I begin, but one thing I was a little curious about with the prison section here in the remake was how are they going to make it feel really creepy and scary? Because in the original Silent Hill 2, um, that's really the prison section is really where the original game really starts to dive into traditional horror elements, whereas the original game is much more subtle in just about everything. It's more psychological horror that makes it uneasy and scary for people than the traditional horror elements that try to scare you in every corner, uh, or have like those really dark moments where it's really trying to be in your face with the horror. Like the prison section in the original game is really where it kind of dives into those elements a little bit, and the labyrinth section is where things get really crazy in the original game, and that's where you signify that James is basically going completely downhill with his mentality. He is becoming very delusional, tired, distraught, potentially losing hope on what is happening around him and things that he is experiencing. Everything is just so subtle by design in the original game, pretty much, if you've never played the original game. The remake has been traditional horror pretty much since the apartment section, and has been trying to be traditionally scary, trying to jump things out at you in dark corners and trying to scare you with, gimmicky effects, lighting effects, and ambient sounds in the background, trying to make you feel uneasy. Pretty much the whole remake so far, so that's been its design. And they do some really cool stuff in the game when it comes to that, but it is just a difference in the remake compared to the original in that regard. So I was very curious how they would make the prison section feel, and I gotta tell you, man, that prison section is still somehow, some way, the creepiest section of the remake for me so far, including parts of the labyrinth. Although it's not nearly as unsettling as the prison. They made the prison section feel truly different to everything else in the game, and I'm really impressed with what Bloober Team did there in the prison. Like they switched up the horror somehow. Like I didn't know if they would do it, but they actually did switch up some of the horror there, making things very uncomfortable at times in the prison section. They introduced a different variation of the same enemy type doing different things. The mannequins are already so ridiculous in this game that the switch up with the mannequins in the prison is fucking unreal. Actually unreal. They are so aggressive. They go through doors and different floors. Like their AI behaviors are very free in the prison, which I guess when I think about it, it's probably why the prison levels are so expanded in size and like layout with the hallways, like the halls of the prison, like they're just wider. Everything's just wider, and I think I understand why they're a bit wider, so that maybe they can fit those mannequins and let them do really crazy shit in that prison section. It reminded me of like Manhunt for some reason. Like going through some of the prison sections in Manhunt, sneak sneak killing prisoners in that game. It reminded me of like going through the second mission in Splinter Cell Double Agent a little bit, where you're kind of going through the whole prison there. Everything's just going crazy, riots everywhere. Got to sneak through all the guards to get out of the prison with Jamie Washington to become your little, terrorist group that Sam Fisher becomes in Double Agent, because that game of story is just fucking out there for the Splinter Cell series at that point. It reminded me of like moments like that, but obviously just very horror-like, very dark, sinister, unsettling, uncomfortable horror. there were some very cool moments in that prison. I was very impressed. I have not experienced that type of like truly unsettling horror at a AAA level in a very, very long time. Not that type of horror, like sinister type, trying to really get you uncomfortable type horror. Like I haven't experienced that in a very long time. Like insane moments. It genuinely feels like in this remake, there's times where Bloober they go to distance. They don't. I feel like they don't hold back sometimes, and I like that. I think that's very fitting for this remake that they do shit like that. And somehow they made the prison section just feel so unique compared to everything else in the game. And in theme, visual storytelling yet again, top notch, ambient sounds next level, even for current generation, honestly, at times. If this game does not get nominated for sound design, it's a crime. It's a real crime. If this game does not get nominated for one single audio award anywhere, I it's a crime. This is some of the best audio sound design I've heard on a PlayStation 5. And I have issues with sound on PS5 very often with a lot of games. Um, and I don't know why. I think the PS5 is a fairly faulty console when it comes to sound. I've done a lot of experimenting with sound on PS5, and for whatever reason, things just sound very flat, dull with stereo setups. I only have like one surround setup, and things just sound like audio effects missing at particular parts of the surround sound. It almost feels like games are trying to be compatible with like the 3D audio on PS5 with the Tempest audio, which is literally just applying some echo filter over the stereo sound and making it sound 3D, even though it's just like artificial as shit. And I almost feel like they're trying to accompany that with every PS5 game somehow. Because when I play the Resident Evil games, for example, and I play the PS4 versions, they sound different in stereo sound than they do on the PS5. Like the PS5, they sound almost muffled and quieter and dull and flat sounding compared to the PS4 version, where things sound like it has more dynamic range in the stereo sound. I turn the 3D audio on, and it tends to like give some depth to some of the sound when you put on 3D audio for like those Resident Evil games. But again, it sounds fake. It sounds echoey because a lot of the games just don't have good 3D sound. The only other game that I've heard has had that good sound design is like Returnal when it comes to 3D audio. This is the second game I've ever played on a PS5 next to Returnal, where 3D sound I feel like is actually somewhat enhancing part of the experience of this game with the ambient sounds that exist in this game, and it sounds phenomenal a lot of the time, even in 3D audio. And the sound design in general is some of the best I've heard on this console. I mean, I literally went out of my way to get like a better headset because in order to get a good wired system for this PS5, I need to spend like thousands of dollars, and I just can't do that. And like the sound that's coming out of these Odyssey Penrose for this game is pretty damn solid. Like this is a closed back player magnetic driver headset, wireless. You know, usually there's compression with wireless and all that, but I don't hear a lot of that with this game. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool to hear multi-layered sounds with the sound design in this game and have it sound as cool as it does. It still has its boxy, flat moments just by nature because of the headset I'm using, and like in general, that's just the sound quality that I get out of this console. I don't know. I feel like this console is just really faulty when it comes to a bunch of little technical things. But this is one of the best sounding games I've heard on the console, despite all that. Has a lot of cool moments, and the prison section was just like insane when it comes to the ambience. Obviously, the prison section dives a bit into the religious aspect of the game with the religious cult, and got some cool imagery there, some cool notes to read. Interesting enemy combat encounters too. Try to switch it up a bit with that. It was okay. Had some more consistency with combat and mechanics yesterday. Learned a little bit more about the combat a little bit more, trying to make things more consistent. Still has moments of like pure inconsistency with dodges and shooting and whatnot, and the enemy AI, but it's nothing egregious, nothing crazy. It's nothing truly broken. Some of the combat logic can be very questionable at times, but just had some more consistency with the combat, which was good yesterday. Even with the mannequins in the prison. Just fucking nuts. I thought the execution puzzle with the nooses was pretty weird. I got it first try, where I pieced together a message, pulled a noose, and went down into the labyrinth. And I decided to do some reading on it after I was done streaming, and apparently the puzzle is very similar. But you can just kind of pull the noose of whatever message you connect without having to connect it on the plaque itself. And you can just pull the noose once you get it right. And apparently there's multiple combinations for hard riddle difficulty for that. And I just got it right first try. I got lucky. And if you get it wrong, just like the original game, it'll throw you down into a room full of enemies, I guess. So that's interesting. I thought the puzzle was weird though, because you don't actually have to piece the message together for that execution puzzle. You can just simply find the right noose to pull, just like in the original game, of course, and then you go down. I just thought it was weird that I got it first try, and it's also fairly straightforward. Still feel like a lot of the puzzles and riddles in this game are just a little disappointing in terms of pure difficulty. It's still a situation where they kind of give you one irrelevant element of the puzzle to throw you off, and then once you can eliminate that element, it should become a bit straightforward to solve a puzzle in this game. It's kind of easy. A little accessibility there, I guess, for the riddles and puzzles in this game, but I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with the puzzle riddle difficulty, just because Silent Hill games in general have like some pretty interesting puzzles to solve. I'm not asking for fucking Shakespeare. I'm just something comparable to the original game in some way. In the original game, it's some hard puzzles here and there that were pretty interesting. I think I like the coin puzzle in the apartments is still like my favorite thing in the game. And also there's another thing in the hospital too, where you have to look at environment stuff in order to solve a code to open up the new version of the Luis box. Open up the padlock on that box, and there's things you have to look at in the environment to figure out the combination. I thought that was cool. I like that. That was sick. But yeah, like puzzle stuff is just very okay in this game still. And the prison section was just kind of spotty with that for me personally. What else? I really like how they're trying to like switch up a lot of combat encounters in this remake with the same enemy designs, because obviously they can't redesign new enemies or anything. They can give out enemy variants, but they can't redesign anything. They can't make a new enemy. That would be a little disingenuous, of course, pertaining to the symbolism behind the enemies in the first place. So I like what they're doing with the enemy combat encounters. They're trying to do all they can with it, and I think they're doing a pretty cool job with that, personally. What else do I want to talk about here? Oh, the Labyrinth section is very cool, I think. Disappointed there's no particular unlockable in the Labyrinth. I know that would probably be a challenge to implement that particular unlockable in a modern day setting, but it's a very unique unlockable in a horror game period, let alone Silent Hill. I felt like that'd be very cool to show off somehow, some way. Again, it's a challenge probably to implement something that ridiculous in a modern day game like this, but it's part of the original game. So, just disappointed that it's not there, I guess. Labyrinth section goes through some pretty heavy moments in the original Silent Hill 2, and I was very, very skeptical about how Bloober would handle those moments. I am fairly desensitized to Silent Hill 2's story at this point, just because I've played it so much. over the last 2 decades. And also when I stream games, I'm just naturally desensitized in general, just because I'm not like fully immersed when I stream a game, because I'm constantly focused on my second monitor playing a game. So there's two elements there where I may not react to something that's happening in a game that would be particularly favorable maybe for the audience. So when it comes to the Labyrinth section of Silent Hill 2, there's some pretty heavy things that happen. I was very skeptical and concerned about how they would handle that. And very glad, very happy to say that what they did in the Labyrinth section in this remake is extremely excellent. They somehow built up on the event that happens here to where it's much more intimate, real, disturbing, and pretty miserable, to be honest. I mean, some really interesting imagery happening in that moment. And I'm purposely being vague about it because it's so realistic at this point that it could potentially be a trigger warning when we actually replay the remake at some point on stream, which I plan to do for like New Game Plus, and actually plan to keep the VOD up publicly this time, because I'll be doing some fun New Game Plus runs. We won't be like diving crazy into the remake. We won't be doing some comparison stuff. We won't be being a purist and just fucking enjoying the remake, because I know people don't like this shit too often. They call it nitpicky, you're just being hard, blah blah blah. We can't have any nuanced conversation on the internet type shit, so that's why I'm leaving these unlisted on top of the Konami play standards that I don't fuck with either. But that's what I like doing in Silent Hill games. This is what I find fun and enjoyable. I'm not being miserable here. This is fun for me. This is so enjoyable for me to do this for a Silent Hill game. I've always done this with Silent Hill games. But going back to that part in Labyrinth, they executed a certain moment there extremely well, and I was very, very relieved. They built up on it, they expanded on it, tons of audio cues, tons of visual storytelling, great cutscene performance, probably the best cutscene in the game in that moment in the Labyrinth, to be honest. Albeit still some inconsistent direction that I'm nitpicky about. But the message is very clear, and visually and audio-wise, it's very clear. It was like I look back at the footage, and I also was watching somebody speedrun the game last night, and I was like genuinely troubled by some of the stuff they were doing there, because it's heavy stuff. It's very heavy psychological stuff that's happening there. And like I said, it's so realistic looking at this point that it could be a true trigger warning for somebody that plays this game. And that's why there's a warning, by the way, at the very beginning of the game that you see. It's partially why it's there. It's not censorship and all that bullshit. It's there for a purpose. And I can understand why it's there. Especially now that I experienced that part of the Labyrinth. But it was very well designed. It was very well executed. I was impressed. It was the best encounter in the game in terms of combat and action too. It's just very well paced out. Multiple phases that were very interesting. The original ambient music and soundtrack was there too, mixed in. That was pretty cool. It was just a very respectable way to pull that off. So that was really cool experience. It's not really enjoyable experience. It's more miserable by design, but still, the way they executed it was just great. I was really in awe of that stuff visually and design wise. That's why I was like so excited about it when I was doing it in real time. Because I was just going through all like the game. Because when I'm playing this and analyzing this, I'm really analyzing more gameplay stuff than I am anything else. And then going through some story stuff that I'm fairly familiar with. But I'm really just sitting here like wondering, like, does the game play good when I stream stuff? I don't really dive into story things very often on stream because people just get weird. Especially with Silent Hill, people get very People have a very big misconception with Silent Hill on the internet, and I just don't care to have the conversation ever. So I just don't care to really analyze story too often unless it's very obvious things throughout this playthrough. I'm more so wondering, like, okay, how did they recreate the gameplay? And I get really excited over how they recreate gameplay in this remake. And like going over some of the VODs is like I can kind of understand why someone would take some of my reactions in certain moments as like a weird, like, do you even know what's happening type of ordeal. So I'm like smiling while I'm like facing this boss that has some insane imagery, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude, this is so sick, look how cool this shit looks. And not understanding that I've played Silent Hill 2 so many times that I know what things are gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen. I'm just desensitized to it at this point because I've already been through all the feelings and the emotions of it. Right? I've analyzed it enough over the course of 2 decades to understand that there's things happening that are very serious and miserable in this game. But that was all pretty cool. So now we'll get to the second part and see what happens. I don't know what this is apparently like this should be the very end of it. And we'll continue, I guess. Also, I want to I still see the comment over the prison and labyrinth sections of this game being bloated as a critique to some people, and I still fucking question that a lot. I don't understand why people are saying that. I really don't. Are people playing the game? Is my question for that. Are people actually playing this? Are you really like playing? Are you just like autopiloting through the game? If you really think anything in this prison section or in this labyrinth section is bloat, you are crazy. You are absolutely insane. And I guarantee you that it's not necessarily the prison and labyrinth that's bloated to these people. It's that they go through the hospital first and go through a very similar experience with gameplay design, where there is objective bloat in the hospital. But that doesn't process to them yet because it's maybe too early in the game for them to realize that, oh, wait, I'm doing like 9 things at once in this hospital. And then you do something a bit similar in the prison labyrinth section, but things thematically in the prison and labyrinth have much more sense with their puzzle and riddles. Thematically, it's all there. There's purpose for everything, and so in the besides like the rotating cube just being like a throwback to the original, but everything has like a fucking purpose. Whereas in the hospital section, when I complain about true objective bloat, there are literally things in the hospital that completely have no fucking purpose, almost no purpose entirely. They are just there because you have to open up a door and they just want you to figure that out a little bit longer. That is bloat. What is happening in the prison of Labyrinth, I promise you, I fucking promise you, if you just follow this game and what it's doing, there's no bloat here. Almost zero. Maybe you can talk about the rotating cube, a throwback to the original, potentially being something of bloat, but there's some symbolic purpose for that too when it comes to the symbols. I think there was one other thing that you can maybe argue for bloat in the prison section somewhere to like figure out a code or something, but I don't even know it. I don't even remember it because guess what? It wasn't really bloat probably. It was just people complaining. Because again, they probably experienced this in the hospital and they didn't really think about it in the hospital, maybe because it's too early in the game for them, and then they go back and do something somewhat similar again, but at a lesser extent in the prison labyrinth, and they're like, oh, well, now it's just bloat now, because I don't know. I genuinely don't get why people say this section it has bloat. It bothers me, actually, that people think this, that people have this opinion. I don't understand why. I really don't under fucking stand at all. Like the hospital is that part for me. that I was like, you could tone down a puzzle or a riddle here or there, and it would be okay. It's fine. You know, at the end of the day, I would very much rather have Bloober overcook shit in this remake than undercook. They've, for 98% of this game, they have cooked or overcooked to some extent. And I'd rather have this all day, any day, over that 2% that I have questions about potentially undercooking. Because again, everything about this remake is completely surpassed my pretty low expectations by an extremely wide margin already. That pretty much my criticisms or nitpicks is all under good faith and with the context that I think this game is fucking great and it's damn good, and that I am sitting here purposely nitpicking because I have nothing better to do with my life as a Silent Hill fan. And that fully recognizing this shit is so damn excellent. And I'm curious, like, how much this could hold up to any sort of nitpicks that I may have. And it holds up pretty damn well outside of the 2%, or maybe even 3% that I would argue. Alright, so let's get it. So we just went through a combat section, which the last wave of that was interesting. Interesting to say the least. All the bugs are really strange, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really feel like these bugs need to be here, but whatever. See, again, like, that's a nitpick. I don't know if Bloober patches their games at all. What the hell is that vibration? I don't know if they patch their games at all, because I've never played any of their original titles right away. But man, I hope this game gets some polished patches, man. Because the stutter, the Unreal Engine stutters there because the game like loads the level in front of you over time because it wants to be seamless, and it does a really damn good job of being seamless too. That's another thing about this game I want to praise. With every optimization issue that I may have, or other people may have with this game, it's also just as impressive when it comes to trying being extremely seamless. There's no loading screens at all here in this game. Everything is truly seamless, and also the transitional stuff that you would experience in like Unreal Engine 4 games on like last gen, with like Final Fantasy VII Remake or God of War titles. You always go through those hallways, nice and slow, because you're loading another part of the level in front of you, because it just doesn't take long. It's not fast enough to do it on a hard drive like this. But this game, taking advantage of the SSDs and Unreal Engine 5 being a little more optimized, it seems like anyways, with like loading levels in front of you or deloading things behind you. And even though there may be stutters and some frame drops, like I get right now, and also the dynamic resolution seems to be pretty iffy. See it right now, some of the frame drops. And also when I played this on my TV, it did not look very good at all. When you play this on a monitor, it's much better, like this monitor here that I'm using. But I played it on a TV and the stutter was real and it looked awful. But at the same time, it's also impressive to see how they try to like make this super seamless. I really do hope they patch this game. There's some really good potential here to make this game even more polished for years and years to come. Obviously, hoping for the other thing that I know is not here in the remake. I'm very disappointed with that, but whatever. I will pay money. I will pay money, $10 for that Separate Ways-esque polish for the sub scenario if it's, you know, truly something like that. Like, they at the very least, they need to patch some of this dynamic resolution stuff, because it's so funny to look up. The dynamic resolution is setting up a certain way, and then you look down, it's like adjusting in real time, and it just doesn't look great. Alright, let's get it. Ruined area, so we went through the flooded level area here. Multiple ladders and all that. We met Pyramid Head down there in the bottom right hand corner here. That was interesting. The desolate area map. Everything has like a theme with the labyrinths, which again, whole visual storytelling thing here in the labyrinth is very cool. Everything has a purpose for being here. Like there's purposes for everything being here. It's not bloat. Still don't understand why people are saying this shit's bloated. And now apparently we have the rotten area at the very beginning. And now we are Labyrinth Center to open up a strange wall, and they use the rotating cube. Maria's down there. And now we are here in the ruined area. Everything's pretty layered in an interesting way here. Obviously it's not nearly as confusing as the original game for some people, maybe. It's a little more seamless, but there's still some switch-ups here and there that can confuse you here in the labyrinth. It's still interesting enough. So many moments in this game where you truly just sit here and just hear the audio in the background. There's just so many moments in this game where you can just hear like the coolest shit with the sound design. It is actually so impressive. I was wondering if they could maybe pull off some of that sound design from the original game. Because it's very impressive for a 2001 PS2 game. It's like innovation leading sound design back in 2001, and Silent Hill 3 as well, and Silent Hill 4. I was wondering if they could compare to that in the modern day, and holy shit, they're doing some really cool stuff with sound design in this game. It's very immersive and highly impressive. It's a little much sometimes. I also get this weird vibration with my controller. It feels like it's bugged because I don't hear or see anything. I get like some weird vibration with the controller sometimes. I don't know why. It just happens randomly at times in certain areas. It feels bugged or something. But yeah, the sound design is just like, it is truly impressive in this game. It's very cool to listen to. Like I said, it's probably one of the best sounding games on PS5, even with a stereo headset. I mean, this headset's no joke either. The Odyssey Penrose does not suck. It's a pretty decent headset for gaming. One of the best you'll find at this price range anyways. Like, sound design is just like insane in this game. What the f... Oh my god. Oh, really? Go, James! Oh my god, this is insane looking. That is so insane looking. They definitely are playing off of like the original art from like the manual, and like that scene in the CGI intro where James is holding Mary or something, like the hands going through like gaps in the wall in that moment in the CGI intro. I swear it's playing off of that. But it's like mannequins. Looks like they're reusing the mannequin for this. The effect is like so insane to look at. Visually like super disturbing. See, there's that vibration again. What is that vibration, dude? I just turned and I just got vibration again. What is that?
Maria.
Oh, that's a symbol that I did not notice until just now. Wow, that's actually impressive how they connected that. Mary. Okay, what is this vibration, dude? Like, it's so weird. Yet again, just like with the scene that he has with Maria right at the very beginning here. Like you get the sense in these new cutscenes that James is truly doubting himself at this point, and his mind is just becoming unstable. It shows. I think it shows a little bit more this time around with these versions of the cutscene of James and his unstable mentality towards what is happening here, which I think is much nicer for like a newer player to have a bit of an understanding that James seems to be a bit self-aware of just how crazy this really is. At least that's my interpretation for it. And that he's definitely self-doubting himself a bit here. And I think when he says Mary, it's almost like he's losing hope. At least that's my interpretation for it, I don't know. Again, they keep doing the gasp. I fucking hear it.
What the hell?
What you mean you destroyed the cube? Oh. Oh, I see what they're doing. Oh, I see. Okay. That's insane. Okay. So, it is in the game. It is in the game, literally, but it's just not an unlockable or anything. It's just something scripted. Nice ambient track. Well, at least it's in the game then. At least it's actually in the game to some extent. Maybe a little on the nose here. Maybe just a tiny bit. A teeny tiny bit. But I don't care, it looks fucking cool. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool as shit. That's cool. Can I attack? Wait. Can I not go forward? Oh, I can. I don't want to leave it. Damn, I really wish you could, like, attack with it. That's so cool to look at. Like, visually. Disturbing and cool. Authentic to look at. That is definitely playing off of the manual art in the original game. It looks so similar in concept. Well, interesting. Interesting. What is this show, anyways? Oh, down there. I was wondering if they would cross out Maria. Maria crossed out. That would be so disrespectful. I can read it. I can see one of them. I can definitely read these in the graveyard too. Just don't know what they say. That one definitely says something unique. William K. Trader. William K. Trader. This felon drank one last bottle of ale before he was executed and laid here to his eternal rest. Definitely something to read there, just like in the graveyard. Walter Sullivan. So all these messages here in the graveyard, they're all from the original game. Obviously, if you read that note in the beginning of the game, the Woodside Apartments and the dumpster, William K., all that, Walter Sullivan, all have a connection here. Team Silent, the developers behind Silent Hill 2 and 4, did not it's not like they purposely connected this on by design back in 2001 when they made Silent Hill 4, but they just ingrained, you know, a couple messages from Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 into 4 over the course of its legacy, implementing some of these concepts into Silent Hill 4. It's pretty cool. Still think, after playing this whole remake, that for me personally, I still would have preferred Silent Hill 4 Remake. I don't care how popular it is, but I know the gaming industry is all about business. Still feel like Silent Hill 4 would have been an amazing remake, objectively fixing the flaws that exist in that game, whereas Silent Hill 2 I think is much more polished as an experience. And I feel like with these connections here, they could do something along the lines of a Silent Hill 4 remake, since it is also a self-centered Silent Hill game. So for me, all hope is not lost yet. With some of these things I see in this game, where I literally see moments in this game that's like, oh, this could easily be converted to a Silent Hill 4 experience instead. Still hoping for it, but probably never happen. Pipe dream, I guess. Obviously, this is still very fucking cool and amazing in its own right. James Sunderland. Eddie Dombrowski. Dombrowski. That is some very weird dirt. Did they take the PS2 dirt or something? It looks like a whirlwind in there. Yeah, that looks bugged. Angela. James Sunderland. And of course, there's a hole to go down. What else is new for James? What else is new for James? I noticed my flashlight went back to normal after a while in the Labyrinth. It turned to like a cool blue for a part of it. Eventually went back to normal. Are you gonna do it? You gonna do the foggy thing, or what? This is even the same. I mean, I can kind of see what they're doing here. Oh my god. Oh, there is a ceiling. I'm like, what? Not enough fog here, Bloober. Get back to work. Oh boy. Well, if you want to talk about janky old school combat, this is by far the worst encounter in the original game for me, and it's not even close. So I'm curious what they're gonna do here. Oh yeah.
Couldn't leave well enough alone, huh? You just had to follow me all the way out here. How many times do I have to kill you?
Eddie? Whoa, Eddie, it's me.
Oh. Hi, James.
Eddie, what are you doing?
Well, what's it look like I'm doing? You fat, disgusting piece of shit, you make me sick. You gonna cry, fat ass? You gonna run to your mama? Waste of skin, why don't you just kill yourself? Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh.
Eddie.
What's that? You want to talk down to me some more? Tell me to relax? You're just like the rest of them, James.
No, I don't want...
Shut up! You think I'm stupid. You think I don't see it. But you've been laughing at me all along. Ever since we first met. But you ain't laughing now, are you?
Help, Eddie.
Don't get all holy on me, James.
After clocking somebody.
This time...
Yeah. You need help. It's bro. God damn, what a punch, James. Jeez.
I called you too. Yeah. You and me,
James is
we're the
sassy
same.
at times.
We're not
in
like
this
other
part of the
people,
game.
don't you know that? Well, you're about to find out.
Not sure if they wanted me to laugh at that, but it was funny. A literal downpour clock in the face. Holy shit, dude. Come on, where's all my fog at, man? Where's all the fog? Why am I looking at the ground? So it looks like the bodies here are more attuned to Eddie's struggle here versus reusing James's character model like they would in the original game. This looks more attuned to Eddie's situation here. What's happening? You're not gonna like just clock me, are you? Oh my god, the ghosting is so real in here.
Do you know what it does to you, James? When you're hated, picked on, spit on, just because of the way you look? Yeah, I ran away after I killed that dog. But you know what? It was fun. It tried to chew its own guts up. Finally died all curled up in a ball. Then he came after me. I shot him too, right in the leg. He cried more than the dog. And now it's your turn, James.
I like that. Oh man, he's got a shuffle going on.
Now you're scared, ain't you?
I'm terrified because I can't move. I'm running in this slab of meat over here. Wow, it's actually very similar, isn't it? I'm purposely looking at the meat. Which for fucking no context, it just sounds weird, but I always felt like in the original encounter for Eddie in his boss room, pretty much, that the actual slabs of meat in the original game almost looks very similar to Eddie in design. It's got like the gut and everything. I always felt like it represented Eddie in that situation. It kind of looks a little curvy again.
There you are.
Where am I?
Who's laughing now? Relax. It'll be over soon.
Bloober.
I'm coming for you. Come on, James. Don't be shy.
I can see him, his silhouette, like ghosting. Ooh, 20 FPS, here it comes.
You'll die here, James.
Oh, here comes the fog.
You'll squirm and squeal,
James, would you like to reload
cry
the gun,
like a little
please?
girl. And then you'll just curl up and die. And it's gonna feel great. Just like before.
Alright, the ghosting is helping. The silhouette ghosting is helping.
I'm coming for you.
I'm sure you are, Eddie. Oh, really, Eddie?
This is it, James.
Woohoo! Oh, Bloober, please stop.
I'll kill you, James.
I see his ghosting. I see his silhouette from the fog and the ghosting. Tiny bit lame, not gonna lie. Killed a human being. Of course, that's the trophy name. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed with Eddie's finale there. I feel like the first cutscene here was pretty disappointing. And Eddie's been my favorite character in this remake in terms of improvements, but I feel like that finale cutscene and encounter was a bit disappointing for him. Not gonna lie. Just a little disappointing for him. Just felt like the emotion was just... I mean, obviously Eddie is very different in this remake. He's much more... almost like completely... like you can tell that he is very unsettling, creepy. And you can tell a little bit more that he's very self-aware of like who he is and what he's doing in that moment with all of his mental issues that he has with bullying and abuse and all that. He makes it more obvious that he is a much more unsettling character, much more direct with it than the original game. So it feels like that's what they were going for in that finale cutscene there. I just felt like they rushed out the lines a little too much. Just like way too much, I feel like. I think like settling it down and slowing it down a little bit and having Eddie draw out some lines and some words would have fit a little bit more for me there. Considering that's what Eddie's really been, besides the very first cutscene in the game. And I also really enjoy, you know, the acting for Eddie in this game a lot. I think he's really consistent up until this final moment here. And also like the acting here and the direction of the voice here being similar and in the actual encounter was cool. But just like that finale cutscene for him is just a bit disappointing for me there. Just a little too rushed, I feel like, with the delivery there. I wasn't really feeling it, to be honest. It's disappointing because he's been my favorite character in this remake when it comes to changes. So, oh well. At least the encounter had some layers to it again. And it's pretty much the same. They brought in the fog at the very end there, like that. Moving around the meat slabs. They kind of look similar again. Doesn't look like Eddie at all once you look at it, but looks similar to the original game again, which is nice. Like in the original game, it looked like if you looked at the meat slabs, you literally saw almost like the blue jeans, or the blue, or like he's not wearing blue, or whatever shorts he was wearing. I think it was the same color, whatever shorts, whatever color it was. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but it looks similar. Once you look down here, you can almost see that maybe the resemblance of shorts on the meat slabs here. I do like the fact that you can like destroy these. Like Like the fact that you can destroy these, that's pretty cool, and moving it around in the fog. I mean, the gameplay is definitely better here. That part of it's definitely a lot better here, I think. But yeah, that cutscene was a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably the most disappointing cutscene in the game for me. Just didn't feel like I wasn't buying it, to be honest. Montana. What is that? What is Montana? What's a Montana? Why am I blanking on that? Is that even like a reference? SV? What is that? Anything else here? Anything in here? Any strange photo just randomly hiding in a fucking corner? Guess we're good. And away I go. They actually brought the boat back, huh? Bringing back the boat section. That blur effect is so crazy looking. What are you looking at? Oh, yep. Photo. Photo. Of course. That is what I'm looking for. Okay. Wonder how they're gonna do the boat here. Is it gonna be a different control scheme on hard too? Are we gonna have to do gyro controls, motion controls, like an HD collection on the PS3 version? That'd be fucking hilarious. Road trip. Oh wow. What is this depicting? Because this reminds me of the Lakeview Hotel boat ride 24. Right? Is this depicting like Mary? Mary and James like going on a trip together with these photos? That's what I've been interpreting as literally the whole game. Like forever together, 208. Right? Guess what room we went in to find out Maria's dead? Room 208. It's gotta be that connection. And once you get all the photos, you can literally connect it that way. And it says career's humble beginnings. So we also saw a work station in the Labyrinth too. And I guess this might be James's workstation. In that photo. How the time flies. Like, TV in the background, made it. I have no idea what that means. Ready to kill it. Church entry. I don't know. Just depict it being. They mustn't know they're here, so far from home. Old man's always prepared. Like I don't know. Like it's got to be something to do with Mary and James's relationship in some way, shape, or form. But like they throw me off with some of these pictures. Like the context behind it is like strange to me. Hence the strange photo. Alrighty, here we go. Headset's being all weird, because I have to charge it. Well, let's go, James, on the boat. Let's see, boat ride. Are we doing the boat thing? Let's find out. Interesting ambient track there. M plus S. Or whatever, M plus B, whatever that says. Oh god, hold L2 to use the left. Hold to use the right. Hold to move forward. Well, I mean, I'm literally there. Lined up already. In the original game, you had to paddle to the right 2 times, and then just paddle forward. I always paddle right twice, then move forward the whole time. And you follow the light that's through the fog. We got a little adapted trigger resistance, nice. So they basically just said, fuck it, just make it easy, I guess, huh? No motion controls from the HD collection on PS3. No needing to rotate your left and right stick. Simultaneously together, or only do one, so that you can turn one way or the other on hard. People who only play the PC version really just don't get the true boat rowing experience with Silent Hill 2. But it's so easy on PC. It's pretty much like this. It's just like completely straightforward. And I'm curving. I guess it doesn't matter, because I'm here. Doing good, James. Wow. What a boat ride. Oh, there's like a whole thing up here now. Alright, what do you want me to look at? A garden? Excuse me? There's a garden now in the Lakeview Hotel? Okay. Garden. Huh. Lakeview Boat Rentals. Spend unforgettable moments on Toluca Lake. These waters will bring you peace. $15 for the day. Is that the church? In the middle of the lake? It looks like the church from the middle of the lake in the Rebirth ending. In the original game. It's pretty funny. Oh, the symbolic ice cream truck is here. The same thing, seems like. See that hat again. Keep seeing this hat like everywhere. Throughout like parts of the town and whatnot. Who this? Is this Harry? glasses are like way too big to be Harry's. Reading a book. Hold on. I took a picture of a book earlier in the game, in the Labyrinth. And when I read it in the Labyrinth, it was like